Alright, good everyone. Welcome back to another good section of this wonderful tutorial class. Today we want to look at a very important question in motion physics. Now the question is, how much distance is required to stop a car traveling at 108 km per hour if the driver reaction time is 0.1 seconds? That's the question. Now, first of all, let's convert this initial velocity to meter per second. To meter from kilometer per hour to meter per second, you multiply by 1000 and divide it by 60 times 60. I'll move it to meter per second, from kilometer per hour to meter per second. Then the final velocity is that the car will stop moving. So the final velocity will be zero. Final velocity will be zero. So we have initial velocity, we also have final velocity. Now initial velocity is this, final velocity will be zero. That's when the car will stop. So what is time required to stop the car? So for the car to stop, the final velocity must be zero. Like if the car is moving with initial velocity of this, the last velocity will be zero. We want to have this distance we are looking at. Acceleration is going to change in velocity over time, which is final minus initial over time. That's going to give us 300. We're going to have 0 minus 30 over 0.1. It's supposed to be minus 300 meters per second. So if it is minus, it means it is decelerating, not actually accelerating. If a body is decelerating, that means it's reducing its speed. If it's accelerating, it's increasing its speed. It's just something like negative acceleration. That's what we call deceleration. So that means that's why I did not put the sign to that 300. So it's just 300 meters per second decelerating. This is decelerating. So it's supposed to be minus 300 meter per second square. Meter per second square. Meter per second square. So this is a negative acceleration actually, but I did not put the minus sign because I'll just explain that this one is actually decelerating and it's meter per second square. Meter per second square. Then from the relation v square minus u square, okay, v square is equals to u square plus 2ax. We're going to look for our s, which is the distance. So the s will be equal to v square minus u over 2a. We're going to have this. So if you substitute this, remember I told you this acceleration is negative. That's why the negative you see here, the negative sign is still here, is deceleration. So if you solve this, you're going to have 1.5 meters. That is the distance at which you stop the car. Or you can also use this formula for average speed. You take the average speed of the motion multiplied by time. The average speed is 30 plus 0 over 2, then times 0.1. You're going to have as well 1.5 meters per second. So that you solve it this way or use this direct formula. So it's either you do it this way or this way. So this one is another alternative method for solving the question. Thank you.